soy products, they're phytoestrogens. Soy is a phytoestrogen, which creates an imbalance of estrogen in your body. And then you don't have enough progesterone, which balances estrogen. When you have too much estrogen, it creates an inflammatory response, which then creates a situation where you get fibroids, PCOS, you've got endometriosis, ovarian cysts, infertility, heavy menstrual cramps, and bleeding. All of those things are because women are estrogen dominant. And Vitex, which is chasteberry, adds progesterone naturally into the body to balance out the estrogen. And so even my sister who had endometriosis, she's used Vitex and she no longer has endometriosis. It was because she was estrogen dominant. And then we have, these other products here, but these are the main products that people should look out for. If you've got high blood pressure, you've got diabetes, you've got cancer, these are the products that you will need. And this is what we've been able to use to get people reversals. And then we have the scientific studies here where you want to look at olive leaf extract science. I've segregated it by different diseases, and you'll see how olive leaf extract reverses all types of diseases from high blood pressure to bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic infections, diabetes, the list goes on, cancer. I put all the studies on there. I mean, I'll just click it there real quick for those who are intellectually curious. You'll be able to see it. It's segregated. High blood pressure, you'll see 9 different studies, diabetes, many studies, viruses such as HIV. You'll see how it kills HIV, olive leaf extract. We got the studies here from the government website. They know this information, but they don't tell you the information. Cancer and tumors, how it kills cancer tumors between 9 and 12 days. Here's the study right here. You just click it and it goes straight to the study. And then olive leaf extract and pain, Parkinson's disease, autoimmune illnesses, inflammation, all of that. We have it there so that our people can also stop feeling that we should be intimidated by scientific studies and reading scientific studies. As Marcus Garvey said, for us to get out of the situation that we're in, we're going to have to become a race of people who are scientists par excellence. What that means is that the same people who created mathematics, algebra, Geb, which is a deity representing Earth, Ra representing the sun, Al meaning from in the or of in Arabic, Al-Gebra is created by Africans. You understand what I'm saying? Geometry, you can't hypotenuse of a triangle, you can't figure that out. You can't build a pyramid unless you know the hypotenuse of a triangle. You know what I'm saying? We were the founders of the most serious techno-complex civilizations, and you can look at all these papyri, the Edwin Smith papyrus, the Ebers papyrus, the Moscow and the Rhine papyrus with the mathematical equations and scientific procedures and pharmaceutical applications in the Ebers papyrus and in surgery and mathematics and these Edwin Smith and the Moscow Rhine papyrus. All of this is evidence of what Africans were doing and what we can do when we are unmolested as a people. Right. You see, when we're unmolested, the type of things that we can do, the world has never been able to do. They've tried to replicate the pyramids, and guess what? The machines broke. They literally found they had German and Japanese construction companies tried to remake the pyramids, and their machines broke. So what I'm trying to say is that when African people are left unfettered and unmolested, we create magic. We create artifacts that humanity cannot even understand thousands of years later. So I know what we're capable of. I know that we're capable of solving the problems that are in front of us because I've been able to solve it. And I don't think I'm anyone special. I really don't. I don't think I'm more intelligent than anybody. The only difference is that I might be more allergic to bullshit than the average person. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like I can apply whatever intelligence that I might have to memorize the birthdays or the going ons of celebrities. Instead of putting that in my brain, I can memorize, you know what I'm saying, the solubility of plants. I can memorize, you know what I'm saying, different anti-parasitic plants. I can memorize those things. So I'm filling my mind with different things. My mind capacity is not any greater than any average Black person's mind capacity. It's just what we decide to put in our minds, celebrity gossip, or you're going to put in equations to be able to solve the problems of your people. Because when we do that and when we focus, we become very magical people almost overnight. We're able to dominate in every single field that we decide that we want to dominate in. And we put our talents into, whether it be music, we create the blue note. When we want to do sports, they got to change the rules for us.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They've got, so the point is this, is that instead of talking about it, we're going to show and prove, as they say in hip hop. We show and prove exactly the quality of who we are, yo. We have to do that, and we have to do it with results, and we do it unapologetically. We don't be told that, oh, all you can be is an artist. No, we're going to be artists. We're going to be mathematicians. We're going to be scientists. We're going to be herbalists. We're going to be engineers. We're going to be lovers. We're going to be protectors of our women. We're going to be lawmakers. We're going to be historians. We're going to be all of that, all in one person.
To this day.
To this day. They're segregated in terms of our genius. And we saw that with Sheikh Anta Diop. A lot of people don't realize Sheikh Anta Diop had to master many different fields just to put together the history of a broken people. He had to become a linguist who could read the Metu Neter, the hieroglyphs. He became a physicist and a chemist. He studied under Madame Curie, who won the Nobel Prize for discovering radium. That was his teacher. He was a chemist par excellence. He's the one who developed the leucoderm and melanoderm test to determine whether the pharaohs had melanin in their skin.
Right.
He was able to take pieces of their melanin in their skin and see that they were actually had melanocytes consistent with black people and not leucoderms consistent with Europeans. And he was able to take the language that he spoke of Wolof and Mandinka and match that to the language of the Metu Neter. That they use the same words for sand, the same word for trees, the same word for air, the same word for water, the same word for rise, the same word for sleep. He was able to put all that together in a UNESCO conference. And you know what? After he did that, they put him in an insane asylum.
Wow.
He wrote, that was his dissertation paper that he wrote for the Sorbonne, which is the Harvard of France. And they put him in an insane asylum because he dared to say the ancient Egyptians were black people. But then him and Theophilo Benga went to the 1980s, I think 1986 UNESCO conference, where they proved that the ancient Egyptians were black people through linguistic analysis, chemical analysis, biological analysis, linguistic analysis, and so many different analyses. So he had to master history, chemistry, physics, biology, linguistics, all in one person to solve the piece of a puzzle of people who've been broken apart. We've been broken apart as a people. And so what's happening is that because we're not collaborating with each other, we're losing out of the genius of our brothers in New York, because they don't want to collaborate with brothers in Ghana, and brothers in Ghana don't want to collaborate with brothers in Nigeria, and brothers in Nigeria don't want to collaborate with brothers in Haiti, and brothers in Haiti don't want to collaborate with brothers in Brazil, because we've been told something about ourselves that did not come from us. And because I can't get into the genius of red pill and blue pill because I have some type of parochial identity, and I can't soak in the wisdom that you all have from your life experience, and you can't soak into mine because we want to be separated on something that we did not create ourselves, which is jurisdiction identities that from jurisdictions that we did not create. We are not able to solve this puzzle because if Sheikh Anta Diop had that same perspective, he would not have been able to solve the puzzle of who we are as a people and who the ancient Egyptians were, because he solved that puzzle by knowing the linguistic patterns of black people all over Africa, irrespective of colonial designations. That's how he was able to put it together. So if you want to have a colonial identity or an imperial identity based on an empire that is not run by us, what you're doing is that you are stagnating our development and the development of our children from being able to cross-pollinate with each other to learn what's really happening in different places of the world where we can put pieces together, because I'm not going to have all the answers. There may be plants in Brazil that I don't even know about that might be able to cure cancer faster than my olive leaf extract. But because I'm from Chicago and I don't mess with people from outside of Chicago, I can't get any knowledge from my brother in Brazil, who might know some plants that can take care of certain diseases better than the plants that I know about.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So the point of the matter is this, man, is that our great grandchildren are literally waiting for us to get our act together. They're waiting for us to get our act together because they don't want to be born into a world where they're having the same arguments and conversations that we've been having for the last 50 years.
I won't do it.
I'm telling you that right now. 200, 300 years from now, they are literally waiting for us to get our act together, to be the people who we're supposed to be. Scientists par excellence. It doesn't, listen, there's no shortcuts to this thing. We're not going to get out of the problem that we're in without our children becoming engineers. Like, the engineers are the ones who govern what happens in society. And what people don't realize is that in China, all the Chinese politicians and the people who are running China, you know that they're engineers. Yeah. They're not lawyers. They're actually engineers. And that's why China is the way it is, because China has a long memory, and the Chinese remember the Opium Wars. A lot of people don't know about the Opium Wars. They don't even, the Chinese never forgot about the Opium Wars.
They never forgot that one.
They never forgot that one. And they realized why they lost the Opium Wars, because a lot of people think the Opium Wars was not about opium, it was about tea. The British were addicted to tea because they were getting tea from China and they were trading tea for gold. And the British population got addicted to tea because it started with only the rich people could get the imported goods. And because rich people set the trend, the poor people want to do what the rich people do. So now they start drinking tea. And China was trading England gold for tea. And the British sat down and said, we're starting to run out of gold, but we need this tea because our population is addicted to tea. And if we cut off the tea, there's going to be riots. Remember, the American Revolution was started on what? The Boston Tea Party. Tea plays a big role in this. A lot of people don't understand it. They were addicted to tea. The Chinese said, we're trading gold for your tea. We'll give you our tea and we'll take your gold. The British people said, no, we got to do something else. So they sat down with the Chinese and said, listen, we'll trade you anything else that we have. We just don't want to trade you gold. We want your tea, but anything else that we have, we could trade, and we'll trade with you. You know what the Chinese said? The Chinese said, wait, we're going to talk amongst ourselves for 15 minutes and come back to you. You know, after 15 minutes, what the Chinese delegation said to the British? They said, there's nothing that you have that we want. Think about that. Imagine when a people can go to another people and say, there's nothing that you have that we desire.
Right.
That's a serious set of people. Run the gold. You know what happened? They had to run the gold. But the Europeans were the British were very angry about that. And they noticed that the Chinese had a law about drug dealers and people being on opium because they had an opium crisis where people were taking these opium drugs and it was affecting the productivity of the Chinese. And so if you were caught with opium in China, it was the death penalty. Guess what the British did? The British got a boat and started flooding opium into China in exchange for what? Gold in the Chinese black market. That's how they were getting their gold back. And one day the Chinese government seized a boat off the coast of Hong Kong. And when they seized the boat, they found it was full of opium. And guess what? They burned the boat. And when they burned the boat, because opium was illegal in their country, so they burned the boat. The British took that as an act of war.
That's right.
That's how the opium wars started.
Right.
And when the opium wars took place, the British won because they had a superior navy. And they took over Hong Kong, that same port. Hong Kong is a port city, and it was run by Britain for 99 years, and they turned it over.
Right.
But they created a problem because now you've got people in Hong Kong who feel like they're part British.
Right.
You got Chinese people called like